Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we make a custom acrylic mold for pottery. Now in this case here, let's take a look at it. So it's 1/4 inch acrylic, and you can see you can actually read this properly. And if I look at it myself, it's sort of like an ambulance because it's flipped around. And the reason for that is because this is a mold of a mold, and this will actually go on the final product. So that's why for pottery this is actually wrong, so to speak, from what we traditionally do. And you see, because the engraving is inside. What you want for pottery is the engraving to be on the outside. Hence, mold of a mold, so they could go into mass production, marking all their work with this. Something to keep in mind is this is 1/4 inch acrylic. Now basically acrylic is solid gas. So when you introduce high energy to gas, you basically create a fire. The reason why you don't see that here is because I've compressed air shooting down from the laser head exactly where the engraving is happening. So before anything can ignite, it's actually snuffed out. The other thing I have in this machine is a very powerful extraction system. So that means any sort of combustible material, any sort of smoke or fumes that could potentially cause a fire are actually just sucked right out of the machine before they can do so. Now the reason why I'm mentioning this is because, I've been in the CNC field for many, many years, and I have 3 friends who burned down their shop. Now what they would do is do something like this here. One of them was a friend, and he was cutting lamicoids, and he was doing other work and while the machine was cutting the lamicoid. And what he didn't notice is he didn't have his extraction system working. So basically the fumes were just building up inside of the machine and had nowhere to go. And when he lifted the lid, that added just enough oxygen for it to ignite, and well, there's his machine finished. Luckily he had a fire extinguisher, and in that case there, he was able to put the fire out, but the laser was a complete write-off. Another buddy of mine had the great idea of running a machine and then go home and, for the night. It's a great idea because, you get back to the office the next day and all your jobs are done. You basically made money while you're sleeping. The problem is he came back to work and it was just a big pile of cinders because everything burned overnight. And that's one reason why when I do this kind of work, I make sure I got the extraction working, I make sure I got plenty of compressed air, and I also make sure I'm next to the machine so that when I'm doing this kind of work, I could actually do it cost effectively. I don't have to charge the customer the cost of a new machine because that's basically what it costs to do a project like this. Now when it comes to making custom molds, we can literally make them out of any size, any shape, any material, any sort of font, anything you could possibly imagine, we can make a mold out of it. These are small acrylic ones, but we can also do custom thermoforming molds, with our large CNC router. So you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to what we actually produce here in the shop, and we can also make them in pretty much any volume that you want to. So if you want, a dozen different stamps for various applications, we can make that just as easily as one. So if we're looking for custom molds, whether, again, for pottery or anything other application, contact me at CNCKing.com. We can make it for you and ship it right to your door.